Hey everyone, welcome back to the Union Pacific Railroad Evanston Subdivision in HO scale. My name is Daryl Kruse, owner and builder of the layout, with another update, episode 28 of season 2022. This is a very special update in that we are, for the first time, extending the second level, starting at Green River as the train comes up the Helix, and we have added trackage and mileage onto the second level. And we're right above the Evanston yard, and we're moving westward, as I said, from Green River, and we're heading towards West Vaco. Here's how I did it this last week, some of the work I put in. The first area of concern for me was this backdrop, because the second level here is going to be going through the backdrop. It's going to go along the wall across the peninsula, and I decided that it was going to be too high. You saw the pencil mark right there. That's at 69 inches. That's going to be the level of the second level. And it's going to cut across this backdrop, go along this wall, across the peninsula. And I was going to just cut into the backdrop, but I decided that it probably would be better just simply to lower the backdrop overall, because I did not want the backdrop to be obscuring the view of the second level as it goes along this wall all the way to the other end of the basement. There is going to be a 48-foot straightaway. And I think it's going to be really cool to be able to stand here at one end and look all the way down this straightaway and watch your train coming and see it make its way through that straightaway, through West Vaco and the control point, and coming in this direction, or if you're looking from the other end. So as you can see, I did lower the backdrop. So the second level will go right there where that pencil mark is. And I will have to cut a little bit into the backdrop still, maybe a half inch or so for the bench work. But I'll be able to see the top of the second level all the way across. Now that I still need some more lowering of the bench work. If you can see, it kind of slants back up again, and then you have the backdrop on the other side. That's still way too high. That's going to have to be lowered about 3 inches, I believe, so that we can have the second level go across there and have it be such that you can see all the way down. The control point, by the way, is going to be located between the two backdrops. So in that area, we'll be able to have enough room to put the turnout motors and things like that without obscuring the lower level. So this is where the second level is going to come across, and I wanted to make sure we had the backdrop all ready to go before we started that work, which, as you can see, began with cutting out the roadbed for the second level. And I used my homemade compass again in my garage and drew out some curves onto some plywood, and basically the second level is going to be 10 inches wide and with two main lines 2 inches apart. So each main line is going to be 4 inches from the edge. So I think that's going to be plenty of room to have it look good, that there will be room on both sides of the main line. Then there'll be photo backdrops for the background. I'll have other scenic elements along the way. I think I'll have Interstate 80 going across there, maybe a railroad crossing with some signals and some crossing signals and things like that. But here you can see the construction method. Spliced the two pieces together, used 1x2s to brace the straight part of it, and then for the curve I just have 1x2s going across, and we'll use some hardboard to brace that so that it has some rigidity. I laid these two braces flat because it's on top of the splice plates, and if I stood them upright, I was afraid that if I put the wires under there, they would be visible. So I laid those flat to give clearance for the wires. And everything's kind of ready to go for putting on the backdrop. And here you can see I have it screwed in place. And it definitely helps the benchwork piece stay straight and level. So I put the backdrop hardwood on first, and then when it's up, then I put the fascia part of the hardboard in front. Both pieces give the curved benchwork some rigidity as it goes around the curve. Now I had a little notch in the wood there, as you could see, and that's to have it fit into the existing benchwork. So I just kind of set the plywood on there and drew out where it overlapped, and then cut that notch out. So I just simply clamped it onto the existing benchwork and then put the braces in place and try to get it in the right spot. Now for the second 90-degree curve, I wanted to build a piece of benchwork for it to attach to on the other side. So I just used 1x2s to build a 10-inch wide by 7-foot long piece of benchwork. I put some braces here in place. The blue line, by the way, is to mark where the sewer line is. Wanted to make sure I had that as a reference point and make sure that I didn't screw into the sewer line at all. So here you see the 7-foot by 10-inch wide benchwork built with 1x2s sitting on the braces. And again, I just kind of guessed where they would be, and then I made adjustments once I got everything kind of connected together. I was hoping for an incline, a grade of 1% along here to increase the separation between the levels. Starts out at 10 inches as it just comes out of the Helix. By the time I was done, it turned out to be 12 inches, so made some good separation there. So here you have both curves in, all the braces in, the fascia on, and the backdrop attached. Everything's attached with angle irons. And I had to do a lot of adjusting and moving things up and down to get it exactly right. And it'll continue all the way along here. That'll be the height of it when it gets down to this point here. So far, looks pretty good. As you can see, I was kind of obsessed about the backdrop there. I'm looking forward to getting that backdrop lowered so that things will all fit together pretty well. This is going to have to be lowered to be even there, and then hopefully that will make that not so slanted and smooth everything out. You can see it's a little bendy in different places, and then you won't be able to see the other backdrop because it'll be lowered as well. Alright, so between the two backdrops is going to be the control point. And I can access that from inside the peninsula. But when we operate, we won't be going back there. Alright, once I had all the benchwork in place, then I put in some cork roadbed and then also track. And I had on the work schedule to do all the benchwork between Green River and the West Vaco control point, which will be that control point between the backdrops. So I was going to do the benchwork all the way down, which would be another 16 feet or so, but I decided instead to kind of do both together. I was going to do all the benchwork and then all the track and wiring. I decided to kind of split that up differently. So I did half the bench work to this point, and then I also did the track and cork roadbed. And then next week I'll do the rest of the bench work to the control point, and then also the track, and then also add some wiring. So hopefully it should work out pretty good. So it's a nice second level, doesn't really block the lower level very much. All right, the first trains we're going to see running on it are a double stack train and a auto rack train. Kind of switching to more unit trains. So we have a couple of unit trains, double stack train and a auto rack train. This first one is going to be a double stack headed up by a brand new SD70 ACE Heritage unit that I got this last week from Lombard Hobbies. And I have 3 Atherns here that really were not enough to pull this stack train up the Helix. I think if I had a Gevo instead of 2 SD70s, it would have made it. But the new SD70 ACE and 2 SD70s was not enough. I had to give it a little extra push up. But it did make it eventually. And here we are running across the brand new trackage on the second level. As you can see, I'm having some concrete ties on one of the mains. And if you look at the satellite photos, there are concrete ties on the south main. So I'm kind of replicating that on the second level here. This is trackage between Green River and West Vaco. And it looks pretty good. It's right at eye level. So it's like you're at track level. Good way to see a lot of the detail on the locomotives and cars. It's kind of back from the lower level, but I can reach both tracks. So if I do need to re-rail a car, I can reach back there and re-rail it without any difficulties. So it looks pretty good. I really wasn't sure about doing a second level. Kind of went back and forth, but when I went to Wyoming and Utah to check out the Evanston Sub last June of 2021, I had the opportunity to stop at the Colorado Railroad Museum. I think it's in Greenwood, Colorado, north of Denver. And they have a second and third level, but they don't have them stacked on top of each other. Each one is just kind of recessed back from the lower level, kind of like in a stacked, or not stacked, but a kind of a terraced or maybe pyramid kind of setup. And when I saw that, I thought that really looked good. It was a way to get 2 levels without it, one level taking away from the other level. And also made me think that you can have a high level and still make it be something that looks very interesting. Won't be able to do a whole lot of operations with it, and when we do, we'll have to have a platform, which we are going to have in West Vaco. There'll be a platform to stand on so that you can do operations. So it'll be a relative 61 inches instead of 69. But when I saw that at the Colorado Railroad Museum, I thought, yeah, I definitely am doing a second level. And so far, I've been pretty happy with the way it all looks. There won't be a whole lot of scenery on the second level. There will be ground cover, of course, and some trees and ballast and a photo backdrop. May put in some railroad crossings. Maybe we'll have Interstate 80 coming across different spots. So there will be some scenic elements, but there won't be any mountain, any plastering done and things like that. It's going to be pretty basic. So the second level has begun, and it's shaping up pretty nice. Looking forward to extending it across the peninsula and into West Fockel, and eventually all the way to the other end of the second level. And then we'll have the whole main line finished, hopefully by Halloween. Thanks so much for watching this update. Make sure you stay tuned every Sunday to see how things are shaping up on the Union Pacific Railroad Evanston Subdivision. Everybody have a great week and take care.